everybody. I'm back today with the video that I think most people want to see is just starting with your first fluid nail art decal. So we'll just get started with that. There's a couple different options, I guess, or techniques I'll show you and how to get the best results. If you have a minute, watch the how to get the big juicy cells video I posted. That gives you some tips as well. But we'll just start out with this video. Sorry, I got hair on everything I'm shedding. So you got your first 3 fluid art polishes. Now you just don't know what to do with them. So we'll go through everything that will get you started so you can make some pretty cool nail art designs. Sorry if you hear a fan in the background, that's my heater. We got a lot of snow, so my salon's a little freezing cold right now. Sorry about that noise. So first off, we'll just start with a clear fluid art polish. Make sure that your mats are clean. Use your little lint roller to get off any leftovers from your last decal or any dust that might be on there. And I'm just going to show you just maybe a simple 2-color to get started. So you can put the fluid art polish on the bottom or the top. With getting the big juicy cells, I like to put a clear or white on the bottom and then the colored one on top of your decal, just because it kind of layers up and makes kind of those layered look cells. So with this one, we'll just put the clear, we'll do some purple, and you could just do dots. You can kind of do a little spread. I'm not actually touching it with the brush. I'm just letting the fluid, you know, the polish kind of flow off of there. You don't want to contaminate all your polishes with other polishes, so just kind of keep them from touching, the brush touching. Now I'll just put a couple drops of a darker purple there. Well, let's just add another one, a little light purple. And I'm just dotting kind of separately. If you just do like a mass puddle of each color, it's just going to be really muddied. So to keep them kind of separate, where you see each color, you'll want to just put them where you think you need to have some color there. So with the mat, I just barely kind of bend it so both sides of the puddle are touching, and then just kind of smear it a little bit. And then this is when you'll use your silicone tool that I talked about and kind of guide how you want that to flow. And you'll see in your polishes, like there's a cool spot you want to kind of have that flow open more, or there's just a part of it that you want to kind of expand. You just guide that down, and then you just have your first fluid art. It's pretty easy to do. I guess the main thing is picking colors and designs of what you want to do, and then just going with it. So that was just with the clear fluid art polish, and you can see that it's made, you know, the cells of the other colors mixed in there just with that one tiny little smear. I'm going to show you now what happens if you smear it too much. So we'll do the same exact thing with the clear. Just put a little bit on there. And then our purple polishes again. I usually start out with the lightest one first, but kind of started with the middle one here. We'll just put some on there. And our dark. And the light one. Okay, so same thing, you just kind of pick it up, and then if I was to smear this too much, or just got really kind of vigorous with it, you get thin spots, and your cells will be a lot smaller. So this, you know, with the clear, you'll see right through these areas here, and you can see that the cells compared to the other one, I don't know if you can see that, but they're a lot more compact and smaller. So just not smearing as much and kind of keeping your fluid a little more compact helps to get bigger cells, because the fluid nail art polish has more, I guess, volume to flow and move with it. So smeared too much, thin areas, smaller cells, and then smear just a little bit, and then guide it with your silicone tool. So that's with the clear. And the clear you could use, like I said in my other video, as that bottom bubble, or if you just have a set of polishes that you don't want to add any extra color to, then you'd use the clear. Or if you just need a little extra more volume to help it flow, you can use some clear in there too. And you can put it on the bottom, you can put it on the top. I don't know that there's too much difference that I've noticed doing them top versus bottom. So with this next one, we'll do some white. And I'm going to show you the difference between using white versus black with colors, and how you can see it totally changes the look of your fluid art. So let's just get some white on there. And then we'll use some darker blues here, starting with the lighter one. Same thing as before, just kind of put your colors spaced out a little bit. And this is how I typically do it, starting, you know, lightest to darkest with the regular polishes. And depending on how dark you want it, you just be a little bit lighter with the dark one. Just wouldn't add as much. This might be really pretty. I don't think I've tried these three together before. Now we'll do some dark navy blue. And I didn't clean off my silicone tool. I can do that real quick. And I just get a little pad with acetone on it and clean off all the polish from the last one. Okay, so you have the polishes there. Remember to just kind of bend it together, and then a gentle smear just to get it kind of going, and then you use your tool. You can see those cells starting there. This is a pretty one. Just guide that down. That's probably good. You can see how it looks with white. And you've got some cells, layered on cells in there, and larger cells because we didn't smear it too much. So it kind of left that polished puddle more compact than spread out too thin, and that really helps to get those to flow. So there it is with the white fluid polish, and we'll show you with the black, and we'll compare how those look different. So our black, and I use the Baroness X fluid art polishes. Of all the ones I've tried, these are my favorite. I think they give you the most cells and they just work amazing. So those are the ones I recommend to get. So let's start with our light one. And this is something, fluid art for nails. I just experimented with things in different colors and found out kind of what works and what doesn't, and what gives you the best results. And that's probably something you'll have to do as well, is just kind of experiment with things and see what works best for you, because everybody's different. You know, the pressure you're going to put on the mat as you smear it, or if you find, you know, a different technique works better for you, by all means, that's what you should do. Just do what works for you and what you like to do. Okay, so we have the black with those same colors. Just barely bend. Just give it a little smear. And then your tool. I didn't clean it off. It doesn't matter. And guide it. So the two different looks. There's the white and the black. So you could get, you know, the different looks with the same colored polishes, but with different colored fluid art polish. Or you could use white and black together as well. So the options are endless, really, with fluid nail art. So there's that. The one other thing that I wanted to show you with doing fluid nail art was with colors you want to really stay separate. You don't want them to mix together too much, because it changes the, you know, the whole idea you had in your head. So you kind of want to keep the colors as separate as possible. So with neons, that's particularly one that I find if you mix them together too much, you kind of lose the whole effect of the neon. So I got my pop neons here. I'm just opening those. Okay, so with this we'll use white fluid nail art polish. I'm kind of gonna go a little bit bigger with this one, so I put a pretty good size amount there. Not too thick. It's not like the bowl that is in my other video. I'll start with pink. Pop polishes, their cream collections are great to fluid art with, and also water marble. So Actually, they're good for doing gradients too. So pretty much everything. You know, the pop creams are really good. I like them. I just don't like their bottles too much because I knock them over all the time. They're kind of not very stable because of the design. You can see how I'm kind of keeping those dots separate as I plop them on there and not layering them too much. If you were doing like that blue one we just did, you could put those over top of each other and it kind of makes a nice blend. But with the neons, I found that trying to keep them separate makes it so they're not so muddied when you smear them, and the colors themselves stay distinct. Get some green in here, and if they do overlap a little bit, it's okay, but I, for the most part, try to keep the colors separate a little bit. And then with this, I would add a little bit more fluid art polish. So I'm just going to use clear and just kind of put some on the top a little bit. And I'm just letting that polish flow over. I'm not touching the decal with the brush. Just get a little bit of clear on there. Okay, and then same thing with this. Just smear as gently as possible to barely have them mix. And then guide it where you want it to go. Let's kind of bring it down this way here. Your edges are going to be, you know, that muddied look because you're pretty much mixing the polish as you drag it down, but you don't typically have to use the edge of your decal, so that's okay with that part. But you can see that the colors have stayed pretty distinct. I mean, there's a couple areas where you can see that muddied look, and that's from adding, when you add all colors together you get brown, so that's what happens. But for the most part, the part of the decal that you're going to use, they've stayed separate, and that's what I found with neons is placing them farther apart on your decal and kind of not mixing them as much as you would one of the other color schemes. So that was the decal with the neons, sorry, that I wanted to share. Okay, so with the ball chain that you can get on Baroness X as well, this could probably be a whole separate video itself, but I'm just going to mention it because I don't use it that often. It can be a little bit tricky, but I'll show you just the basic technique that I've done with it. So if that's something you wanted to try and experiment with, you could. So with this one, I'll use the pop neons again. I'm just gonna kind of put them side by side. And green. And I'm going to use the white fluid nail art polish. Put some across the top. Pretty good amount. And then I'm just going to dot a little bit too. So with the ball chain, you would just kind of lay it there on your mat. What you want to do is kind of just drag it through your polishes and have them just kind of blend together. You'll have to clean this off with acetone and then dry it off. It's stainless steel, but if you don't dry them, oh, I got a flake in there, they can get rusty. I've never had one get rusty, but I know with other stainless steel tools, if you don't dry them off, they will get rusty because they're not all stainless steel. So, and that's just a simple, straightforward kind of rainbow design with the ball chain. It doesn't mix the polishes together too much. It just sort of helps you pull that fluid art polish through other polishes to kind of make those cells and that kind of linear design. So that's that with the ball chain. You can pull it straight down. You don't have to kind of loop it over. I've done those too. You can just play with it and see what works for you, if you like it or not, or if you don't, that's good too. So this is kind of the basics on starting with your first fluid art decal. I will be posting an older video I have of how to put the decals on your nails once you have them done. These will take probably about 15 to 20 minutes to dry on the mat. You want to put them on as soon as they're dry to the touch, and you can peel them off without it sticking on you. You don't want them to sit too long to dry. I have some decals here I used for my Fluid Art Friday mani that I had on my desk, and I thought, oh, that's a good thing to show. They get brittle if you let them sit too long. So if you try to shape it to your nail, they're just hard. It snaps like that. So they're just too brittle really to place on the nail. I guess you could soften them up with maybe a top coat over top if you left them too long, but it just is still really kind of difficult to work with. So I would put the decals on as soon as they're dry enough to put on the nail. Whether to use an undie or not depends on what your decal looks like, what you plan for the whole mani. But something like this one where we spread it too much and you have those thin areas, you might have some clear holes, especially with the clear fluid polish. You probably would want to do an undie. You could do white, or you could do the lightest color that you used in your decal as an undie before you put the decal on. A lot of times, if I have one that's just totally opaque, I didn't use clear polish, the clear fluid polish, you can tell there's just no holes in it, I don't use an undie. So I'll just use my Vapid Commitment Issues peel off base coat on my my gel nails and do it that way. Or if I'm going to wear them, I'll put the Bind and Burnish right over my gel. And I talked about that in my last video. The Bind and Burnish helps it to stick, the decal stick to your nail. So I can just put this right on my gel nail and then put the decal on, trim it around, clean it up, and put top coat on, and it stays a long time. So those are the ways that you can put the decals on. So I think that's about it for this video. Please comment if you have questions, if there's anything that I missed, or just have questions in general about doing this. I'd be happy to help. Thanks.